This week's episode is sponsored by Change. Change is the #1 mentoring programme that teaches you e-commerce from scratch. Change has a real community with real results. I have been working with Ryan for many years now and have attended many of his events and retreats across the world and got to meet members and the amazing community of like-minded people. Ryan works with a lot of big names in the business world, helping them build online businesses and e-commerce. Change offers personal one-on-one support, no experience needed, but like anything, this takes time and is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you put the work in, you will get the results. E-commerce and online shopping is getting bigger and bigger. This is a great opportunity for anyone that is looking for financial freedom. For more information, go follow Ryan on Instagram at RyanJB, and he will guide you through the steps to help you get started and build a successful online business. You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live. And boom, we're on. And today's guest, we've got Karl Colley. How are we?
Hiya, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good to have you on.
Yep.
Football star, through the ranks,
Yeah.
gambling addiction, football hooligan. They call you what, the Eric Cantona, the
Non-league.
non-league, because you attacked a fan, prison, gambling addiction. We've got a lot in common, brother, so we'll have a good conversation today.
Yeah.
How are you now?
I'm good, mate. I'm steady. I'm good. You get to that point in life now where it's just a bit of a flatlining a bit. It's not as hectic as it used to be, and getting older and wiser as the journey goes on in life, it's getting a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, it's mad, that flat line. I think it's because maybe the chaos on the edge all the time, try to get that punt, try to get that fix, just fighting with everyone.
Yeah.
And then when you get that bit of peace, you think it's a bit boring.
It is, and obviously that's why it's still deep inside me, and it's always like wanting to surface. But again, just family life and just growing up, it's just that comes in front of stuff, if you know what I mean.
Before we get into all the madness, so I always like to go back to the start of my guests, get more of a bit of understanding about you, where you grew up and how it all began.
Yep. So yeah, I grew up in Sheffield. Mum and dad living on Parkhill Flats, High Port Flats in Sheffield, which is a bit rough, but it was all right. And then my dad won the pools when I was 3, and then we moved to a nice area in Sheffield. And that's where the kind of journey begins with me, because my dad was a gambler, compulsive gambler, and that's what the things I saw from a young age. Basically, they pissed the money up the wall. We had a nice new house, new car, things like that. And then 5 or 6 years into that, that's when I saw the cracks of my dad and my mum and dad's relationship, and the gambling and the lying and the deceit and stuff like that. Pretty quiet at school, not really one for making trouble or anything like that. Quite tall for my age, big lad for my age, but shy. And then decided to kick a football at 8, 9 years old, properly, and signed for my first football club at 10, which is just a local team. Won Players Player of the Year, Managers Player of the Year, first football club. So that's when it started to snowball into kind of a football career. Just went from a few Sunday League teams, and then got signed at Rotherham when I was 13.
How much did your dad win in the pools? I never thought anybody won that. My dad, so all my uncles, and they were all gamblers, but used to play spot the ball. Used to get it was ink, and you used to dab it down, and then the pools. I think, is that for all? Was it draws they wanted for 3 points for a draw?
Like all score draws. But the funny thing about it is, you were part of a syndicate, and the guy didn't pay. There were 2 weeks arrears, so they threw this guy out. So my dad took his place, and then 3 weeks later, they actually won it. But I think it were around about 38, 39 grand. Then this is in 85, 86.
100 grand.
So it's a decent whack, yeah, back then. But again, my dad was only like 21, mum were 22. So you can imagine, 100 bags, there you go, on your own. There you go, you know what I mean? It's, they made mistakes with it, but had a good life for a few years and things like that. So yeah.
What was it like signing for your first team?
The local team, like, it was just, again, I were a bit shy with football, a bit shy in general. But then once I kicked a ball, I think my dad's seen something in me, and just kind of pushed me. But I wouldn't say I were very good at 10, just good at that level.
What position?
Centre half.
At 10 because of your height?
Yeah. But I just found it naturally to kick with both feet. My dad's left-footed, I'm right-footed, but I can kick with my left as good as my right and stuff like that. So I kind of had an advantage. But I used to play with a guy at 10-year-old who could throw a ball miles at 10-year-old. So basically every throw-in, anywhere on pitch, because like little pitches with kids, he used to just throw a ball into me and I just head it in. So we're a bit of advantage, at that age. But then moving on, obviously went to Rotherham United, but they were a team who I signed for just before, and Rotherham signed 12 of them players. So from 12-year-old to 16 at Rotherham, you were the same team from 12-year-old. So we all went through the journey and did well as a team. Little old Rotherham used to beat teams like Man United, Leeds, Newcastle back then. So yeah, we were doing really well. I mean, I went and represented England twice at 14 and 15, playing for Rotherham, which is unheard of. And then when I did go away with the England lads, they'd never heard of Rotherham in their life. So they were saying, "Oh, wait, where are you from?" I'm like, "Rotherham." So yeah, it was a good experience back then, but we were the top. They weren't academies then; they were school of excellences. But yeah, we were up there as kids. Yeah.
What happened then, 14, 15? Were you gambling then?
No. 14, 15 in my life were a bit hectic in regards of, it were getting serious now in regards of Rotherham United, because Rotherham United used to have a director who took a shine to me. He took a shine to my dad. And he were like in his late 30s, 40s, but he were a multimillionaire, scrap man. And he used to buy me a pair of boots every other week and trainers and stuff like that. So we were kind of seeing perks of me doing well for Rotherham. But then my dad was like friends with him, so they gave my dad a job at the scrapyard, gave my dad a car, paid for mum and dad to go on holiday. And my dad was like out most evenings with his scrap man, gentleman evenings, out on piss, doing whatever, turning in for work when he wanted, because obviously he's out with Gaffer. So that were kind of a tough time for my mum as well, because my dad was seeing the perks of me doing well in football, and I think that's where my dad kind of liked that lifestyle, thinking, yeah, if he goes far, then I won't have to, work and do whatever. And obviously when my dad was gambling, my dad just wanted an easy life, and because he'd got no sense of money and how much money were worth and things like that. Obviously being a gambling addict. So he were putting more pressure on me, kind of thing, at that time, 14, 15, because he could see where this could go and what heights I could, get to.
Do you think he was looking at it for his own gain instead of actually looking out for his son?
Part of me thinks that, yeah. There's definitely a part of that. But again, that's the addiction probably taking over.
As a gambler, yourself are using bastards.
Yeah.
Even though I've still got, I always believed I was kind and good anyway.
Yeah.
But how can I say that when I bumped everyone who gave me graft or gave me money?
Yeah.
Who I knew they weren't getting it back. I had the intentions of getting the money, doubling it, giving them it back, and I can play with the other half.
Yeah.
But when I lose, I never gave them it.
No.
Because I felt as if it was mine, and it was like my tokens to gamble.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, he's not as bad either. He's still there for you.
Oh yeah.
Partly
100%.
he's wanting that fix to get his.
Yeah. I mean, I can't ever criticize him for what he gave me, how he pushed me, support, love, and everything like that. I mean, I never really had bad games, but if I did, he'd tell me about it, but he'd tell me in a constructive way. It weren't like you need to do this because I need fucking money and I need to do whatever. It were kind of like, look, you're still best centre half about, you still can achieve this, still and that. So it wasn't. I never realised that at that age because I didn't know what gambling were. But again, growing up, you know, leaving me outside bookies for fucking hours on end, leaving me in the car, making sure, you know, I was lying to my mum after football, and that was the thing with my dad. My dad learnt me how to lie. So all these tools I were learning as a kid, for when I was going into gambling, I kind of knew the ins and outs of, you know, being deceitful, you know, losing money. Oh, I've lost my money. I've been robbed. I've not been paid. I've not done whatever. Every excuse under the sun. I've heard it all off my dad. So then when it come to me at my time of gambling, you know, I'd read the book I don't know how many times on excuses.
Yeah, it's a painful existence. I don't know how many times I broke down.
Yeah.
And with no fuel, because I would rather just put that extra 10 or 20 quid double on.
Yeah.
Just to try and get the bet on for the weekend, the big
Yeah.
bet. But it's a mad existence. Gambling is a hidden addiction, but back then it was more acceptable. Like you say, I used to get left outside the bookies. We used to sit in the bookies back then.
Yeah.
Everybody smoking.
Yeah.
Then the laws kind of changed, but then you were just standing outside or waiting in the car. It's what age did you start? Because I was gambling from very young, 5, 6. Maybe not as young as that, but we used to there's used to be little horses. We used to go to a place called Largs, and there was like little horses. There's like different colours.
Oh, the arcade. Yeah.
You put 10 pence in.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be there. And then there was the fruit machines. And then at school, we used to play a thing called Chippy. About 7 or 8 year old, it was 10 pence, 50 pence, sometimes a pound. Whoever gets closest to the wall takes all the coins, flicks it up, heads or tails, whatever lands on yours, you get the coin. So I was gambling young, very young.
I probably were doing all that, but I weren't. I mean,
not got the money or the funds to do what you do now.
The horse racing game, I can remember because I always remember. I think we were red. What were 10 pence? I think you doubled your money.
Purple was the biggest one, a pound.
I think the white or the pink were the like £2 a pound or whatever it were. So that was the jackpot. But I can remember all that. But it weren't like that was just money I got given to go to the arcades or do whatever when we were on holiday. I mean, I have won the jackpot a few times in the working men clubs and stuff like that as a kid. But not realising the buzz of it and wanting to play more and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Who did you sign for? Who was your first contract with?
So my first professional contract was Sheffield Wednesday.
How was that from being Sheffield United fan?
Do you know what? It weren't a problem at all. Because my dad's a big Blade Sheffield United fan. And my dad was like, listen, Wednesday want to sign you. You know, you going, and I'm like, all right, okay. But all my family are Sheffield United, but Sheffield Wednesday are a big club, and it's they didn't offer me a pro contract to start off with. They just said, can you come in training? We do want to sign you, but just come in training. And after 3 or 4 weeks, they then pulled my dad and said, look, he's 17 in, I think it was something like 6-7 weeks. We'll carry on paying him, and then on his 17th birthday, we'll give him a pro contract instead of a YTS or training. So my dad was just like, right, that's it, you're signing. So that pro contract, once you're pro, that's it. And then when I did sign it, bang on my birthday, 13th of October, that's when me and my dad's relationship, that's when it all started to go a bit south. Because it was more, because my dad had achieved what he wanted me to achieve in regards to financial gains and stuff like that. And then that's where my dad then stopped becoming the supportive dad he was through my journey. But it becomes a job now. It's a job. You're getting paid decent money. It's a job. So you're kind of on your own, but you need to, it just didn't look after me in regards to, obviously I did start gambling at 16, 17 when I did go to Wednesday. But I used to hang around with a player who were a bit older than me, and he were in the first team, so he were on, a few grand a week or whatever. And I weren't on that much at Wednesday, but he used to go in the bookies and bet. And it was kind of like, I want to try and compete with that. He's Billy Big Bollocks. He's, paying £500-600 and all, whatever. And I was just like, I've got to fit in here. I've got to try and. So I was gambling out of my means and stuff like that, just to blend in and just to be part of, But then that's when it started. Obviously, when I left Sheffield Wednesday, end of that season, I went to Newcastle, which again was a big move and a 3-year deal at Newcastle. Again, my dad were like, my dad was just getting carried away with it. But again, my dad were doing everything he possibly could to make sure that I got up to Newcastle okay. I was looked after. But once I gone there, that was it. And that's when all like the depression and the gambling started really serious then, because I was left to my own device. So I did sign for decent money on Newcastle, but again, no parents, no living at home, living in digs on my own, access to all this money, loads of time on my hands. But again, like I've said on previous stuff, is I loved being at the club at Newcastle. I loved enjoying training with first team and the superstars they had back then. But as soon as I left St James's Park, I was just lost. I was just like a lost kid in a big city. And it was just like, what do I do? How do I occupy my time?
Who signed you, Robson?
Yeah.
A legend, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, but again, I look back and it's hard that I weren't never. So I talked to my mates about it. They go, fucking hell, I can't believe you played with Shearer, Kieran Dyer, Bellamy, Rob Lee, stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but I was never starstruck because I got too much going on. I got too much going off the field to where I was turning up at training every day thinking, fucking hell, pinch myself moment. I'm here training with the first team, Bobby Robson, everything like that. There was just too much going off in my head. What just kind of diluted everything, what good was happening.
How good was Shearer? Shearer for me is top 3 greatest strikers of all time. Like, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I mean, I tried to get near him in training. If I got picked on his team, which were a lot better, rather than having to mark him, but he was just so strong. But he never did any weights. I think it was because he got a bad back or something like that. He struggled with his back. So he never did any weight sessions, but he was just naturally strong. I could never get anywhere near him or try and wimp ball off him or get round him to nick ball out like that. But again, given his aura, you just, wow, it's Alan Shearer, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'm watching him at Euro 96 or whatever kind of thing, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I was cheering, on telly, and now I'm, wrapping my arms around you, trying to wimp ball and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of a surreal moment.
Yes, that's the way strikers should be. I think the game's changed. Nobody crosses it in as much, and you've got somebody like Shearer putting a nut on it.
He was nasty. I mean, I've heard other people in interviews and stuff like that saying he were a nasty fucker.
Good though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
football should be.
Yeah.
I watch football now. I watch my cousin Dean, and there's not much tackles anymore. And I think, where the fuck's the game went? Like, you miss a bit of nitty-gritty. You see some of the tackles, the old videos pop up on social media sometimes, and people are going through their shins, going through the back, and some of them are even getting a booking. Now people are getting touched and they're getting sent off. Like, it's ruining the game. It is a man's game and we're ruining it. It's becoming a game full of fucking sissies.
It's an entertainment. It's just an entertainment now. I mean, and that's the trouble why I fall out with football now, is because it's just purely entertainment. There's no like sport aspect to it anymore or any competitiveness. It's just, top teams have got top players. They're all foreign. They're all being taught to dive, taught to, do whatever. And there's hardly any good English players anymore. They're all kind of got this continental vibe to them and stuff like that and how they play. But again, we've never had an identity, England, as a football team and as a football country. The only identity we've had is just being hard as nails and just get stuck in. We might not be the best, but we can pull a result out every now and again, which we haven't done over the years. But we're so far behind in regards to like Spain, Italy, Argentina, the world's top footballing nations. We're miles behind. So we just need to get an identity and just stick to it. But again, all the academy stuff now in the Premier League, it's just all continental.
Do you think they're trying to be like Spain and your Argentinas and Brazils?
Yeah. I mean, I've looked into doing my coaching badges and stuff like that, and I should have gone to done me UEFA B license last year. And it got to the last week, and I just rang them up and I just said, I'm not coming because I don't agree with what our football is. I mean, I'm going to come with different ideas and stuff like that, and you're going to teach me how to get a B license, but you're telling me what I should be teaching or coaching or whatever. And I wanted to do my own kind of stuff, and I just thought I can't get on with, English football. So I rang up and said, I'm not interested this year. I might look into it another year. But that was genuinely because I just thought, am I going to get my license? Am I going to end up arguing? Am I going to end up, because I'm going to come with different ideas and say, well, you know what, I want to try and turn it old school because of this high press. And I mean, when I used to play football at centre half, I had 2 strikers closing me down every minute I had. So I have to know my next pass. Every time ball got played out. I mean, we used to play out back then. We did play football, especially at Newcastle. But I used to have strikers having to close me down. So I used to know my next pass. Like, you look at centre halves now, they can stand up ball, they can sit up ball, they've got 5 options. It's easy to play centre half now. And they're on 200 grand a week. And it's easy. And then you see centre halves chucking this. I mean, I know Andy Maguire from Sheffield, obviously, and stuff like that, but he's like similar stature and similar kind of player to me, but he throws his son on the floor all the time. And I just think, you're not being brought up like that. But again, you're playing for like Man United, England and stuff like that. You're probably getting taught this and told to do this in training and stuff.
Nah, I remember like your Tony Adams and that, Roy Keane's, Patrick Vieira's.
Yeah.
Like tough. Just tough. John
Proper,
Perry was a
yeah.
tough bastard as well.
Yeah.
There was some great centre-halves. There's some great centre-halves. But again, I think the game is becoming lost. I think it's sad because the younger generation have accepted it.
Yeah.
And they don't see any different.
No.
And that's because British football's known to be tough,
Yeah.
Standard 4-4-2 and everything changes, even the strikers. I don't think strikers are strikers anymore, like your Alan Shearers.
No.
And it's great. Listen, I love your Terry Henrys and that, but I was fascinated with Shearer because they just cross it into the box and score at any angle, and his penalties as well.
Well, that's it. I mean, you never heard out about Shearer. He would never eat papers. They were never front star, there weren't a scandal going off or anything like that. He was just proper. He was just like, lived his own life, but he was an absolute legend up there. And, you got some other players like Craig Bellamy was there at the time.
Who else was there?
Craig Bellamy, Kieran Dyer. Then they were like the old guard, Rob Lee.
Ferdinand?
No, he'd gone.
You would have missed it. Remember Asprilla?
Yeah.
The Colombian?
Yeah.
He was a fucking nutcase. He was a nut job.
But the thing is, Newcastle were my second team growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum and dad used to buy me Sheffield United kits at Christmas and stuff. But I always asked me Nana and Grandad, look, can you get me Newcastle kit? But Newcastle back then, 97, 98, they were everyone's second favourite team because they were getting Man United a run for the Premiership and stuff like that. So
Keegan?
Yeah.
I would love it if we beat them when they done that.
Yeah.
They were shouting on the mic.
But it's funny enough that my dad, when I played for Rotherham, we played Newcastle away during the school holidays. And we went to Durham, the training ground, and Newcastle first team were training there, Ginola, Asprilla. And I got a Newcastle shirt, so my dad says, oh, I'll take a shirt up with us to training ground just in case first team were there. So my dad were like, they were there. So my dad ran into the changing rooms and he said, look, lads, can you just sign this shirt? And fair play to them, they all signed it, Ginola. He says, but he walked into the shower. He says, and Asprilla were just stood there. He says, and his fucking knob were past his knees. He says that he just got out with like a black and white robe, on Newcastle robe, just like sorting him in a bar. He says, but it were brilliant. But they all signed it for him. He said, they got past security and just like got in and went, yeah.
So he's a player.
Yeah.
So what you signed for Newcastle then, life's going good, but the gambling addiction took over. Do you think that's one of the main reasons why you couldn't enjoy your football?
I mean, I was enjoying my football, like I say, at the club. It's just that when you're away from home and you're living at Newcastle, I was away from everybody. I weren't like, I lived in Whitley Bay, which is renowned for its drinking and, mad weekends or whatever. But obviously I'm never interested in that. But I was just away from all the other players. So there were none of like, I could say, look, fancy a game of snooker, don't go game of golf, have some like relationship with some other players off the pitch. So I was just like miles away from everybody. So that's where I struggled. And obviously there was just a bookies 100 yards down the road. So once I got off the metro and got back to Whitley Bay, it was just like, I'm just going to go and sit in there till 9 o'clock. And then when that shuts, I'll go home, get some sleep, and I'll go back to training next day. So it was just trying to occupy them a lot of hours other than training.
How much were you getting a week back then?
2.5
grand.
Yeah. Yeah,
Young kid, what, 19?
18.
Were you doing every wage then?
Yeah,
Because then you could put big bets on and it wasn't flagged.
nah. And the thing is, you had to go, there were no phones. Well, there were phones, but you couldn't bet on your phone. I mean, I don't know where I'd have gone if, you know, phones were back then. You could like do whatever when I'm on that kind of money. But you had to literally go into an establishment to bet. So either a casino or a bookmaker's. So that's where I spent most of my time. Never really bothered with casinos. But again, it was like just betting every 30 seconds. So it was just like, hey, horse racing bet, dog racing in between, virtual racing. Started putting money on. Sorry, it was a year after at Newcastle, the roulette machines come out. But it was like any change I got, go on the bandit. So I was just constantly fixated in putting a bet on every 30 seconds. It was never like a period of time where I just thought, well, I'll have a minute, I'll go to the toilet, or I'll go and get a drink or a sandwich or whatever. It weren't. It was just pure. I mean, obviously, being to yourself, it was just purely, no, I need a bet. I need to, right, what's next? Looking at screens, what's next bet kind of thing. So,
How long were you at Newcastle for?
a season. I signed a 3-year deal, and I was there a season. And it got a bit much to me, to be honest, because then things started to happen. I mean, I got kicked out of my digs. So I left one digs because in Whitley Bay, and I went to another digs in Monk Seaton, which is a bit closer to Newcastle, but near enough Whitley Bay. But I was living with somebody who played for the club and a guy who worked for the club. So it was a bit better then. I got a bit of company. And I was settled. Everything was going brilliantly. I was still gambling, but, you know, a bit more settled in my head. And then I invited 2 friends up from Sheffield who were actually lasses. And they come up for the weekend. And the guy who I used to live with used to work away, but he working away one weekend. So I said, listen, don't get a hotel. You can stay at my digs. It's not a problem. This guy being away. And then he come home early. So I took him out on the quayside, took him out for a night out, come back. They both slept in my bed, but we just crashed on the bed when we got in because we were pissed. We had a good drink, whatever. So we got ready. I took him for some lunch on the Sunday. I brought him back for him to get the bags to get the train back to Sheffield, and his car's on the drive. So I'm just thinking, oh, fuck, here we go. So obviously I've walked, I've just said, oh, this is so-and-so, nice to meet you. He says, oh, I'll have a word with you when you get back. So I've took him to Newcastle train station, popped him on the train back to Sheffield, got back, and he's just like, what are you playing at? And I'm like, what? So he's like, what, using this as a fucking knocking shot for? I went to 2 friends from Sheffield. It's not just 2 random birds I met last night and I fetched them home. I says, they're just from Sheffield. I says, they were struggling to get an hotel. Last minute, I just said, look, stay here. You go in tomorrow, no problem. Right, you've got 7 days to get out of my house. I'm not having it. So the guy who I live with, he was out that night with me. He played with me. And he never had me back. He never like, well, hold on a minute. Look, we're not like that, you know, kind of thing. He just sat there and just let me take this fucking bollocking off him. And just said, you've got 7 days to get out of my house. So he'd like told the club. So the club then like put me in an hotel for like 3 months. So I'm in an hotel now on my own, 3 months, gambling like folk, depressed to folk. And then it got to a point where my mum rang me up and I never spoke to my mum on phone. It was my dad on phone. And my dad used to come to watch me fair play to him like most weeks, drive up to Newcastle, wherever. And my mum just said, I just broke down to her. And I just said, listen, I've had enough. And she went, right, your dad's coming at weekend. You get all your stuff and you're coming home. I'm going to tell him. So we played Coventry at home. And I can remember Peter Ramage picking me up in the morning, on a Saturday morning. And I was walking out of the hotel with all this stuff, my fucking hi-fi, TV or whatever. So what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going home. After the game, I'm going home. And he's like, yeah, all right. And then I can remember going in change rooms and Peter Beardsley was the manager. And I'm like, listen, Ped, I'm off. And he was like, what? I'm like, I'm off. And nobody took me seriously, but I got all this stuff in Ramy's boot. And obviously he was then going to put it in my dad's van when he got there and everything like that. And nobody would take me seriously. And then I just fucked off. I just went. My dad picked me up and I went. And then I went back on Monday and I spoke to Bobby Robson and Alan Irvine. And I just said, like, I never told them about gambling. This is a thing. Because I couldn't tell them about the gambling or the depression because it wasn't that. I didn't know what they were going to think of me. It weren't that era to say, I'm struggling, you know, I'm struggling with my head, I'm struggling with depression because nobody had ever heard of it. It weren't like that back then. It's what it is now. So I just said, listen, I'm homesick. I need to go home. So I didn't indulge into any like personal stuff. But I just said, I need to go home, or can I find a club closer to home or on loan or something like that just to get my career going again? And Bob Robson sent me home. He says, I'll give you a week. Just go home, recharge your batteries, spend some time with your family. He says, I want you back up here. So he sent me home for a week, and then he rang my mum and dad's house up on the Sunday night when I was due back in on the Monday. And my dad was like, Bob Robson's up phone. So I'm like, hello? Yeah, all right, Gaffer. Yeah. He says, right, you're due in tomorrow, so I hope you've recharged your batteries. I hope you spend some good time with your family and stuff like that. And I went, listen, Gaffer, I don't want to come back. And he's like, what? I said, I don't want to come back. So he's like, right, I'll give you another week. So he rang me again Sunday night, week later. I just said the same thing. I just said, look, I just want to stay here now, back round with my mates and stuff like that. Just want to stay here. So he just said, well, we'll not be letting you go for free. Big mistake, got good plans for you and stuff like that. But get your agent to speak to me or ring me. And then that was the last time I spoke to him. And then obviously Sheffield United got in touch, and that's when I signed for Sheffield United.
Do you regret not going back, or do you think your head was just too far gone because you weren't honest with your addiction?
I regret it. But I have regrets before that.
Because he seems like a good guy who phones a week later, listen, I'll give you another week. So
yeah.
He clearly seen something in you that
he would
potential.
It was like playing for your granddad. The respect you had for him, because who it was. But, I mean, he in his 70s doing training with us, doing warm-up with us, running about. Fucking senile, getting everyone's name wrong. But it was just funny. Do you know what I mean? It was just funny. And it was just like, you just had the utmost respect for him. He was just like brilliant. He was playing for you like granddad. And, I'll be honest with you, I regret going to Newcastle. Part of me does. I think I should have stayed at Wednesday. I think I should have had another, because Wednesday did offer me another contract. But obviously I got a few clubs like Newcastle, Celtic, Fulham, Sunderland coming for me.
Went to Celtic, bro.
I know. Do you know as well? The London scared me, because London's a big place, and at that age I was fucking
man. I'd been Las Vegas for you.
Yeah, and it was Scotland. It was Glasgow, because I'd never been there. And obviously the English-Scottish kind of thing, and obviously growing up with a rivalry and stuff like that, I just didn't fancy it. I just thought, they'll fucking hate me up there. The Scottish will hate me because they hate English or whatever. So I kind of put it off. But again, that'd have been a decent move, because I'd have broke through into the first team. Then you're talking like Champions League, and then you eat shot window and stuff like that. So yeah, it's one of them where I look back and think, and Celtic, I used to watch Celtic when I was younger, but I'm not religious. I'm not, that religious, like kind of Catholic, Protestant kind of stuff, where people, all my mates like are Protestants, so they're like, well, it's Rangers. It's just Rangers. You're not Catholic, you're not Celtic. But Rangers won everything back then. So Celtic were always finished second, so it was like Van Hooijdonk, George Cadet, Di Canio, stuff like that. And my dad used to work away a lot in Scotland, and he used to fetch me at Celtic kits home. So Celtic, I had a soft spot for him again. But I've always been like listening to my friends and that. I then like started following Rangers, not going to watch them out like that, but always looking at Rangers and that rivalry. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not Catholic, I am Protestant, so fuck it. Let's, do you know what I mean? But I have really got a soft spot for Celtic. But it's just that kind of, you look into that rivalry and you think, I'm kind of at the wrong side here, because I'm not Catholic, I'm not religious or anything like that.
Rangers had a lot of English boys playing for them.
Yeah,
so they did.
That's what I mean. It's kind of. I mean, if Rangers are coming for me, it might have been a bit different. I don't know. I just thought that Celtic kind of thing and that English Scotland, I didn't think they'd get on. But a mate of mine who, his son went to play for Celtic, and he said it was absolutely unbelievable. They're a few years younger than me, but he's Catholic and he's supports Celtic, and obviously his son went on to play for him. He says it's the best club in the world.
Makes sense. I think it's where you feel safer and where you feel more appreciated. And I think it helps if you've got a soft spot for that team. Yeah. I think it helps massively.
Yeah.
I think it must be difficult for boys who've maybe grew up Evertonian and then play for Liverpool and vice versa. I think no matter your beliefs, you end up becoming that club, and if you're there a long time.
Yeah.
But if you've been raised supporting a club, I think that's always going to be your club no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to being a professional footballer, it's a job and it's a lifestyle, and it's an amazing lifestyle. So you've got to put all that shit to one side, really. You can't. I mean, I would have never turned my nose up at Sheffield Wednesday and gone, well, no, I'm not signing for them. I'm not signing a pro contract for them because it's Sheffield Wednesday. They're offering me a pro contract. They're offering me fucking, you know what I mean? They step into fucking professional football here. So I'm never going to like turn my nose up it. I mean, a lot of my mates were like, fucking signing for them for? What you doing? Rivalry and stuff. But I fucking loved it at Sheffield Wednesday. I absolutely loved it. It's probably one of the best clubs I've been at.
Who was there when you were playing? Because they were in the Premier about that.
They just got relegated, so they were still paying decent money, and they'd still got people like Wim Jonk, Gilles de Builder. So they'd all just signed these from the '98 World Cup. So I signed in 2001, so they were just still paying the money and still got decent players. Gerald Sibon.
I'm sure Simon Donnelly.
Yeah, they were there with me. And the other one.
I know he's a good guy.
And the other one. There were two. Phil
O'Donnell.
That's
Phil O'Donnell, God rest his soul, yeah. He was Motherwell, great player, Celtic.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah. I mean, I know he was a similar name because they both come as a pair, like O'Donnell and Donnelly. Yeah, they were both sound, to be honest.
What about the move to Sheffield United then? What was that like? I imagine that would have been a pay cut then.
Massive pay cut.
But why then, if you were a gambler, why not just take the money from Newcastle?
Because it was that I needed to get home. I needed to be at home.
What was that feeling then to try and want to be home? What was missing? Like, were you a mummy's boy or what? Like, were you just missing something? Like, was that a bird or like what were you actually missing?
I think what it were is because it was just the lads, everything.
Just the troops, just
the lads, the group of lads I grew up with. Just that being at home, just them home comforts kind of thing. But so much had gone off from that year in Newcastle with regards to the depression and regards to the gambling and living on a £5 a week and fucking skipping metro and do you know what I mean? Like acting like a footballer and looking like a footballer with a fucking Louis Vuitton wash bag and all the fucking shebang. But then I've got a few quid in my pocket living on fucking a pack of fruit salad.
Could you not have got your own place and brought a few of your friends up?
Well, I did, to be honest. Well, I tried to be honest. When I left the first digs, because I was only 17, so you've got to be in the digs till 18, becoming an adult.
You done that when I signed for Hibs.
Yeah. So then the woman who I lived with, the best way to describe it is like Mrs. Doubtfire. And then her name was Naomi, but she was fucking spitted Mrs. Doubtfire, same eccentric and all that lot. But she used to just cook me Sunday dinners every day. So it was like, there's no variety. It was just like fucking Sunday dinners. But she used to have like a poodle, but like a Great Dane fucking poodle. It was massive, like big fucking white horse. And I can remember when I first went up to Wilkenny Digs with my dad, and she says, I remember sitting her down, she's like, "You all right with dogs?" I'm like, yeah, I don't mind dogs. And then she just said, "Okay, RV," like that. And she fucking opened the door, and I swear to God, it was like a fucking horse trying to get out of a fucking stable. It just ran in, jumped all over, and I'm just like, yeah, I like dogs, yeah. So me and Ovi had a bit of a relationship, but it was at tea time when I used to give me fucking meals. And she used to go and watch a TV game show or whatever, like 4 o'clock or whatever in the afternoon. And she said, "Oh, your tea's on side in the kitchen. There you go." Like, no problem. And Avi would just sit there. And because he was like a Great Dane, he was like, fucking, where I'm sat, we're still down here. So I would just eat a bit and then I'd just be like, yeah, passing plate, and he'd just be like fucking lopping it up. But because he was jet white, he'd then finish and then going back into the living room. And she didn't say fuck all about it for like weeks. And then I used to go to the shop and buy a sandwich, or when I went down at Bucky's, go to the shop next door and get something sweet or whatever. And then I thought to myself, I just turned 18, so I thought I'm going to have a look. So I got some appointments to look at some apartments on Quayside and stuff like that. Some players had got them and things like that. So I got some brochures, and she was cleaning my room one day and she'd found these brochures and stuff like that. And then she pulled me in the kitchen and she said, "Oh, are you happy here?" And I just said, yeah, because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. She was a lovely woman. And she was like, "Well, are you enjoying your food? Are you enjoying your meals?" And I'm like, yeah, spot on. Love them. And she's like, "Well, it's funny because I keep finding gravy around Harvey's face. Like, Harvey keeps coming into the living room and he's fucking got gravy all over him because he's jet white." And I went, "No, I only give leftovers or whatever." She says, "Yeah, but can you stop like?" And I went, yeah, no problem. But she kind of caught me out, and she'd seen but she told the club again. So she just informed the club. She said, "I don't think he's happy here." So that's when I moved in with the other guy to Monk's Eaton.
So there was signs there that you were kind of lost?
Yeah, But again, there were no. I talk about it now in regards to like player welfare and stuff. There were nobody at the club what actually you can speak to or looks after players and stuff. I mean, we did, but I think you were called a fucking liaison officer or something like that. But they were fucking useless. They never really like indulge into players or what they might need or the needs or anything like that, whether they're all right. You were kind of just to your own device back then. But again, it's not, we never a talking point mental health then, or things like that, or trouble with addiction. Or
yeah, a lot of things were more accepted. Look at Gaza, you know, the telltale signs when you actually see the drinking and hanging around with five bellies, like you see,
yeah.
there's something not right here. I see the same with Grealish, but thankfully he's playing great at football again at Everton. But you can just see the mannerisms when they're celebrating.
Yeah.
Like, as much as it's good for these boys to get a blowout and go to Ibiza and stuff, I just think when they're doing it and they're on the buses and they're making an ass of themselves and they're acting a bit silly. And listen, it's great, but I can see the telltale signs that between him and Gaza, I see the sort of resemblance. And it might not be. I hope not.
No.
Because he's a great player, but you can just see it. And remember the big cricketer as well?
Oh, God.
No, the big guy used to get pished, I think, they won the Ashes.
Oh, Flintoff.
Big Flintoff. You see with a big man, but it's great for people to enjoy themselves, and especially if you're working all year. But you can see who the ones that possibly could go right off the radar. And I worry for Grealish because he was a great talent, but I see the same sort of Gaza resemblance. And Gaza was broken when I had Gaza on a few years ago. He lost his best friend at 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And that's where he generated these tics from.
Yeah.
Like stammer and that's trauma.
Yeah.
So then obviously he kicked on, had the booze, but you can see like he was struggling even Euro 96 when he scored the goals and they're doing the doctor chair things. It's funny and people love him for who he is, but there needs to be more. You can see the telltale signs, so people need to reach out a bit more to try and rein it in, because but when the fuck can you stop people having fun as well when they've had a tough year? But it's just a more professionalism when you see people slipping, just to try and rein them in and go.
You see these kind of players though, the best players are the kind of players who've got a background and got a story and a bit lively and
Fans
things like that. Yeah. And they're proper footballers for me. These players are just like fucking robots. And I mean, I played with a lot of players and what would you call it? The goody two shoes and the guys who just know how to pass a ball from A to B usually get on. Get on in fucking life and get on in the career and stuff like that. But these like exceptional players who can do a bit of a maverick and stuff like that, they're the ones who've got a bit of a story. They're the one who can fucking go off at rails. But they, for me, are the proper footballers.
Yeah.
Your
Cantonas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the fucking players who you think, well, I'd rather be on a pitch with that. I mean, some players just, just go through life and like football careers and that. A bit like fucking Gary Neville. Like, it's fucking boring. Phil Neville. It's just fucking boring, huh? It's boring. Lads.
Shit there and they get started. But you look at the likes of Ricky Hatton, people loved him because he's one of the lads.
Yeah.
But it's just what happens when the career's over as well. You can see the potentials of what can go wrong. But people love them for being one of the lads and sitting down the pub and having a bevy.
Yeah.
But the destruction button is still
There's no better than a story from a lad who's from like a council estate or rough and ready lad who's then achieved something in life, whether it's a footballer, boxer, something like that. They're the best stories, and that's what get people interested in it. If somebody just fucking does nothing in life and just makes a football and whatever, they never get talked about, and it's not really interesting. And again, there's no really characters, and that's what footballers are now. There's no characters anymore. There's no mavericks on a football pitch. Everyone just is robotic. Everyone's just like, look, this is what we do 5 days a week in training. Just pass there, pass back sideways and things like that. So it's boring.
Yeah, there's everybody's media trained as well. Everybody's all that woke bullshit when everybody's scared to say anything. But I miss those days. I was brought up in the 80s and 90s, and there was some great players and some great characters. There's some now, but it's kind of fizzling. It's not becoming a man's game anymore.
They're gone.
So Sheffield United then, did your mental health really slip then, especially after Newcastle taking the wage cut?
Well, this is where the like story then starts into obviously back with the lads and all the football shit, the football hooligans shit, and because the thing is, during me like being a footballer, I was always, all my mates used to do it, used to knock about with all football lads and stuff like that. So it was always one thing I was intrigued by, because again, wanting to be part of the group and stuff like that. Even though I went on to play football, I always one at lads. But being back home in Sheffield now were lethal for me, because now it were, you know, gambling, getting into scrapes, losing my head, getting depressed. Now this is where I could take all my anger and shit out on people, and that's number one for me. That's where I went to get rid of my shit every week. In obviously watching Sheffield United and organising fucking fights or whatever. That's where it all like stems from.
What age were you?
So I was 17. I worked at Newcastle when I first got approached by some big lads in BBC Blades Business Crew. And obviously, because I was like living away in Newcastle, a lot of shit went off in Sheffield, but weren't then getting reported back to Newcastle, because obviously it were miles away, whatever. But it were there.
So you were fighting while you played for Newcastle?
Yeah, every week in Sheffield. It'd be Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, every week.
Yeah, that could have been where your issue started.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously, if you're fighting for the lads and got that brotherhood,
yeah,
you feel as if you're important, and then you're going away and then feeling lonely.
Yeah.
That's probably the main.
Again, though, when we coming home, I used to come home because I fucking obviously hated it week.
No one seen you, no one stuck you in?
No. So it was just like, right, I'm going home. I didn't want to go home here for the time, but it was like, right, I'm going home, Sheffield United are playing, whoever, or whatever. And I'm going back, because I'd be on phone to lads in week, and they'd be like, you know, these are fetching a firm, or we're playing here away, these are decent, whatever. So it was like, right, fuck it. And I've lost all my money that week. I've been on one all week or whatever. So that was just my release at weekends, straight after football. But again, it played for Sheffield Wednesday. I was 17, fighting against Sheffield Wednesday, but playing for Sheffield Wednesday. So playing for Sheffield Wednesday on a Saturday, getting changed, going out into Sheffield City Centre at night, fighting against Sheffield Wednesday supporters, lads, whatever. Newcastle going away, coming back at weekends, still at it. But then signing for Sheffield United, which then were all over papers in Sheffield and stuff. I think I signed with a Stone Island jumper on and all that day. So they were like, look, people ringing me up with me. I know, it's mad, that story, because Sheffield United rang me up and says, oh, we've got a photo shoot down at Bramall Lane. So I just thought, you know, no problem. So I just chucked a pair of jeans on, chucked this Stone Island jumper on. Off I go, went down to Bramall Lane. And Stuart McCall had signed that day. So me and him had a chat, had a couple of pictures took, did a bit of radio interviews, whatever. And then we had a picture took on pitch. So I'd got this like Stone Island jumper on, but we'd not got changed into any football kits, which I thought it were. Maybe I'd seen photos or something like that, but it weren't. It was just media. So I've gone down in this Stone Island jumper. So then obviously I've then gone back to Woodhouse where I lived. And then I've gone back into the bookies. So at bookies, there were a paper shop bang at side. So after a few hours, I'd gone into the paper shop to get a drink. And at the front, I don't know whether it's like that or your end, but at the front of the counter, you have the local paper, whatever. But I always turn it onto bike, you know, to sport, see what's going off. And as I've done that picture, and me and Stuart McCall from like 2 or 3 hours ago, he's on back page at Star, because this is the afternoon paper. So the woman behind the counter's like, Canel, is that you? And I've still got the same top, and I'm like, wait, Canel, yeah. So she's like, right. So then I walked back into the bookies, and they were just blokes like with fucking papers, like going, hold on, you know what I mean? So I loved all like that. Do you know what I mean? But people are ringing me up with, fucking hell, they're promoting it much, aren't you? With fucking Stoney on and stuff like that. But again, when my career started going downhill at Sheffield United, my reputation started going up, you know, with lads and stuff, because I was getting more deep involved in it and stuff like that. So,
do you think you gave up your football career to be a football hooligan?
Yeah. In end, no, 100%. In end, I know it sounds like as, you know, but it is. And then I got sacked from Sheffield United.
But that shows you your, I wouldn't say your love for attention, because you played for Newcastle, but your love to be in some sort of, to have people around you, to have, there must have been a, and that's what listen, I've got nothing but love for football hooligans.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't agree with what they do. I was at the Birmingham game last week with the Zulus.
Yeah.
Great fun, great lads.
Yeah.
Treated us amazing. But the organisation with the English boys is next level.
Yeah.
Scotland's different. Celtic and Rangers have got great fans.
Yeah.
They're not hooligans. Rangers have got, I think, the Forest fighters and that, a lot of tough bastards in there, but the way the English are organised, I never realised that when you actually do watch the movies, that's how it fucking operates. Like,
Yeah.
when we were down Birmingham, went to a meeting point, then we were going to all the local pubs, everyone knew each other, and everyone looked as if they were ready to go.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
Well, I've taken my hands off to him because it's not like that at Sheffield. It's not like that in Sheffield anymore. Then he's totally dead now. That's the hard thing about it, is it's dying out. And it's, again, that's the frustrating thing, because, I mean, when you spoke to Danny, and Danny says, oh yeah, I'd do it for the day if I could get away with it. And I think everybody's same mentality with that. But it's just nothing. I mean, the organisation back in the day, regards to the mobile phones and stuff, were brilliant. You know, we're meeting here, we're just jumping off at train. You're always in contact with their mob or whatever like that. Nah, it's just fucking kids wearing a few stonies and CP, hack school, whatever, bringing it back out, and just, they ain't got a fucking fight in them.
Did no one ever tell you, like, what you doing? Get your head back into football, get away from them.
Some of the top lads did, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
So they weren't just using you?
No. They went. I'll say one thing. My mates who I grew up with never used me. They always wanted the best for me. And they wanted to be in my position. They wanted to be a professional football and stuff like that. Some of the top lads of Sheffield United have said, fucking, like, that phone call saying, fucking Wednesday on the way around or whatever. It's 40 Wednesday coming round corner. And he said, look, you get to the fucking bike. Because I just signed for Sheffield United. So all these things like, just get a bike. Fuck that. I'm not getting a bike. I'm in fucking front. I'm straight in. And then that's where their reputation started going like that. But I can remember being at Sheffield United, I was getting like section 60 most weeks at games. And I'm like giving false names, false addresses, false date of births. And then it were played Leeds in the FA Cup quarter-finals. When I was at Sheffield United, we got to the League Cup semi-final and FA Cup semi-final. You know, when Seaman pulled that save off from Pesca Salido. So we got to the playoff final as well. So that season, it was just like manic. And we were meeting with a lot of firms and stuff like that. So it was just like, it was just fucking mad, mate. And to be honest, everybody were like, you're going to get caught, you know. And then it was obviously we played Leeds, and then I got nicked outside Sheffield train station fighting with Leeds. And again, this section, they obviously nicked me, and I gave a false name and address. So on the Monday morning, I've like got released, got turned up for training, and like I've walked past the boot room and the laundry room, and the woman says, "Oh, there's a meeting upstairs for you at 10 o'clock." I'm like, okay. Now, if there's a meeting upstairs for you at 10 o'clock, it's something fucking serious in boardroom, like whatever. So then Ron Reid, one of the trainers, come and he says, "Oh, I'm in this meeting at 10 o'clock. What you fucking done?" So I'm like, "I've done no. I've done out, mate." So he's like, "You must have, because there's a meeting at 10 o'clock and I'm involved. So what have you done? Before we go in, just give me a heads up." I said, "I've done no, mate, honestly." So then gets in there and he's like Derek Dooley with the chairman, Terry Robinson's chief exec, Neil Warnock, and a couple of others. So he sat down in the chair, and he's basically just going through all this stuff, and he just said, "Look, what do you want to be here? Do you want to be a footballer or an hooligan?" And I just said, like, "Oh, good question, because it's fucking shit here." I said, "So probably an hooligan." Now, I regret that saying that, but it was that bad at Sheffield United. I mean, there's a lot of politics when I'm Sheffield United, what I've talked about on other stuff in regards to the contract I signed for Sheffield United, the way where I did the contract, because my agent walked out because I took a massive pay cut. He just said, "You're not fucking signing for that. Your money's doubled at Newcastle this season, and you're fucking signing for whatever." And he just said, "You're not doing that." And I just went, "Well, I'll be all right, because they've said they'll renegotiate in 6 months. Give me a new contract, and I'll piss it here, because I've just come from Newcastle, like playing in reserves or whatever, into the Championship." So I thought, well, I'll piss it. So my agent says, "Look, can we have a word outside?" So we went outside, and he fucking just got it car and fucked off. Just left me. So I'm like, stood outside boardroom, like, what do I do here? So I just walked back in and I said, "Look, I'll sign." So I think that's where Warnock wanted me, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Getting you on the cheap.
Yeah. So I signed, and it was a 2-year deal, renegotiate after 6 months. But what I didn't know is 2 days later, when I was in the ticket office sorting some tickets out, Terry Robinson, the chief exec, walked through and he just said, "Oh, I fitting in, Carl, you all right?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, mate." And he says, do you know how much we've got to pay Newcastle on your first team appearance? So I says, no, Terry. And he went, 75 grand. And just fucked off, just walked off. So he like stayed with me, and I can remember getting home and like having my tea with my dad, and I just said, Dad, Terry Omis has pulled me today. He says they've got to pay Newcastle 75 grand for my first team appearance. And my dad just like dropped his knife and fork and he went, that's you not fucking playing then, innit? So straight away, no, because Sheffield United didn't have that money. But again, from what I was talking to Bobby Robson about when he said, look, we're not letting you go for cheap. They'd put 250 grand on it, £250,000. But the first instalment, as soon as I put a shirt on for Sheffield United first team, was 75 grand. Sheffield United didn't have 75 grand.
Why sign you then?
I've no idea. Still to this day, I'm just thinking it was just a bad deal for everybody involved. Mm-hmm. But I was desperate to come back. For me to sign for Sheffield United were massive because obviously I support Sheffield United. So it was always a thing I wanted to do. So I was just looking at that thinking, well, you know, I want to sign for Sheffield United. Then all my mates and all I were getting, oh, come on, you know, buzzing about me signing. But really, for every party, it was just a waste of fucking time. But again, that's where the decision making, the gambling, the depression, stuff like that were just out of control then. So you can imagine my decision making were just horrendous.
Yeah, so you took a wage cut to fight for Sheffield United, basically.
Yeah.
So what happens then when you get caught? How long did it take?
7 months. I think I was there 7-8 months at Sheffield United when I got sacked.
Were you fighting every week?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you lasted that long.
Yeah.
Without someone not sticking you in.
No. But the thing is, the people at the club knew what were going off. Some people knew what my background were and who I knew, who I hanged about with, and things like that. But they were more like an hooligan element at Sheffield United back then. There's none of what exists now. It's just completely gone.
How many's in the firm? Because every time I speak to hooligans, they always mention, like the North East, they always mention like your Sunderland, Sheffield United, Newcastle's been tough bastards.
Yeah. I'd say back in day, on a good day, 300, 350. I mean, when I first started going out, they were minimum 150 out every Saturday. That was just the norm. Again, just like going from pub to pub, they would just be like 30 or 40 lads, all different from different areas in Sheffield and stuff like that. But again, on a Saturday night, we'd all come together because Sheffield back then were a battleground every Saturday night, whether Sheffield Wednesday played at home or United played at home or things like that. Because they used to just meet off at the train station. So if Wednesday played away, we used to go to an hotel in Sheffield, which used to look straight down to the train station. So we used to stay in that bar and could see it from the train station. So we knew when Wednesday were due back and what train they were on. And then they'd come up the road because there's a couple of pubs and it'd just be a battleground every Saturday.
What was your biggest buzz? Gambling, signing a professional football contract, or football hooligan?
Gambling.
Playing for Sheffield United with a bet on and then going for a scrap.
It's mad because I can say all three. But if I'm honest, that's what stems from it. Just the reason why I fucking went to that football fighting was because of the shit I was having myself. I mean, everyone talks about it, and a lot of football lads, they've always fighting some demons or they want to get some shit out, and that's what it used to be about. I mean, a lot of lads who I know, they're like fucking estate agents, barristers, doctors, in armed forces, stuff like that. But they're human. They just want to get rid of some shit. They just like to be part of a crowd and a camaraderie of lads and stuff like that, and just let it all out.
Who's the best firm you come up against?
One of the best firms I've seen is Middlesbrough. Because they're all fucking massive. They're all big bastards like myself. They're all big lads. I've never seen a small Middlesbrough supporter. Again, going back on what Danny said with Grimsby, I've had some fucking good dudes with Grimsby. I mean, I got dragged in for Grimsby. We played Grimsby pre-season, and it was just chaos all day in Cleethorpes, on beach, on seafront. It was just mental. But I've got they made a dossier about me to the police. What they actually banned me for. Give me another ban because I've been banned 11 years. I've had a 6 and a 5. I've had 3 prison sentences over it. So again, yeah, I've earned my stripes with it. But again, you look back and you just think, fucking hell, could all this been stopped at whatever point in regards to like being at Newcastle, being at Sheffield Wednesday, stuff like that. It didn't have to get to where I've been and what I've done in life when everything were just brilliant at one bit. You know, the future were bright. And the road and path I've took is like to fucking hell and back, really.
Yeah, decision making's honking, bro. Man.
It's shocking. It's shocking, mate. It is.
But again, that's where the depths of gambling take you. That's where addictions take you.
Yeah.
Where you can't think constructive, you can't think positively. You just want to be in mayhem and chaos, because you fighting is just your release, like you say. You're just angry at yourself, so you take it out on other people.
Yeah.
And you tend to see when we have addictions, no matter what it is, you destroy not just yourself, but everyone else around you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. He went on to other stuff. He went obviously then like working for people in the city, debt collecting, stuff like that. Because then you're getting a reputation now. You're getting a reputation of being a football hooligan. Because like I said, a football reputation started just going the other side, started going like that. So I substituted one for the other. I always needed some kind of recognition, whether it was being a footballer or whether being a thug or a football lad or whatever. I always needed that recognition. And like a couple of people I know, they've like seen me on midweek and, you know, away from the football. And then they've seen me at football matches and they're like, you're a fucking completely different person. It's like you've got to live up to a character and a reputation. So by seeing it with you fucking sound. You won't, you know, and then you're just a totally different person on a Saturday, which I get, I completely get. And that's where I found myself, where a lot of people I spoke to, I said, you won't see me fucking crying in midweek or fucking, you know, depressed to fuck, not knowing what I'm going to do, whether I've tried committing suicide as well a few years before that. And it's like, you don't see that side, but you do see the inside of me, you know, getting stood there, nice fucking coat on, whatever, getting it all big and whatever. And they don't understand that, because that's all they do. They see all these people, these characters, and they just think, oh, he's fucking brilliant, him, but it's not all about that.
What was when were you trying to take your own life?
I tried to take me on, I'll tell you when I tried to take my own life last is after the goal incident. Because I was gambling really bad. I'd split up with a missus when I'd got a 2-year-old with her. A lot of attention from the media and stuff like that in regards to what happened at goal. I just had enough. But that's the first time and only proper time the switch has gone in my head. But I'm like, I'm fucking doing this. I'm not, you know. And I scared myself, to be honest with you. Because I'd thought about stuff. When, you know, you gamble, you get depressed and stuff like that with it. And you have that thought in your head. But this thought was, now I'm doing it. And I went and, I was stopping at a mate's, because like I said, I just split up with a missus. This shit was happening with goal. And I was staying with a mate in a mate's flat. And I went and got in the shower. I put the shower on. And I just fucking broke down in the shower. And I thought, nah, this is it. But I pre-planned it, because I was collecting, I'd got tablets for my knee, because I got a bad knee injury. So I was painkillers, paracetamols, anything I could get me hold of. I was collecting loads. I got a big bag full. And there was like a bottle of vodka in his fridge. So I broke down in the shower, got out, walked into the kitchen, took all these pills, drunk half a bottle of vodka, just laid down on his sofa. And what it were is, he was laid in bed at the time, and he realised something was up, because I shut the kitchen door. And the kitchen door we never used to shut, because it were open, wedged open. But I shut the kitchen door to do what we're doing. And that alerted him. He thought, that's not right. Got his kitchen door shut. So he got up and then found me. And then obviously he rang ambulance and everything like that, and obviously got took into hospital. But yeah, that were a time where the switch had gone in my head to actually do it.
That's scary, that, when you lose complete control, you think, right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
And you want to switch your lights off, because there's no coming back from that.
No. And not only that, I've like just recently lost a friend. Back in May, the night before the playoff final against Sunderland. Got down to Wembley, supposed to be meeting him, see somebody on the tube and just said, oh, look, have you heard about, I'll say his name, Dalton, who were one of the guys who I've known since he was 15 years old. He was the youngest band hooligan in country at Sheffield United. Anyway, a great lad. And he took his own life the night before. due to stuff with his ex and getting access to his kid and stuff like that. He spent a lot of money on it. But he was so positive. He was like always running, always putting things on Instagram, running out into woods with his dog and everything, you know. You never thought that. But again, telltale signs is that when everything looks so good, it usually isn't. So yeah, he took his life the night before, which again triggered me back to what went off with me. And again, I think for that few week I struggled really bad with my depression because it took me back to square one, really, especially losing somebody close like that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. But women, family courts, it takes men to dark places. I went through it myself there for 2 years, and I'm a fucking strong guy. Like I've come over so much, and I think, nothing will faze me. That fazed me. That rocked me. I thankfully never went back to booze or gear, but I ate a lot. So if you can see my videos from probably 23 year 2023 to kind of now, you'll see the kind of change. 2022 I was flying, kind of lost myself, and you can become complacent, not respecting the interviews, not respecting my craft. But I'm getting back now, I'm finally back. But that's not a nice place to be, family courts, because it drains you, not just mentally but financially. And I'm not in favour for men. I don't give a fuck what women say. And listen, there's a lot of great mums out there, I'm not targeting them all, but what they have to go through and the hurdles and the obstacles that men have to go through and the money that they need to pay out for a corrupt system that's not there to get you over the line to see your kid, and it's definitely not in favour for men. So I can understand why he actually took his own life, because it's so much to...
I think he spent a load of money on it. I think he's got himself into debt with it. And I heard stories that he actually went to the hospital the day before, to the crisis team, and actually went in and said, look, I need some help. I think something to do with his ex, or actually worked at the hospital or something, with like a conflict of interest or something like that, but they wouldn't see him. They sent him away because of something daft as that. And day after he's done what he's done. So again, it's just, again, it's fucking mad, mate. But there needs to be more about it. Like, but I speak about it all the time because obviously through my experience, but blokes aren't made to talk. It's not in the fibre to talk. And not only that, is what I've learnt is not a lot of blokes want to talk because they don't want to tell other people the shit.
We don't want to burden people.
No.
Because we know everybody's struggling, and sometimes I'm the kind of guy who doesn't really talk.
Yeah.
I listen to everybody else's problems, give them advice. But I just think everybody else is struggling. Why do they need to hear my shit?
Yeah.
You know, so you try and deal with it. And it might not hit the surface for a year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but it fucking does eventually hit. And it's good. I don't believe in talking about it all the time, because I think it just reinforces that you're not well. Yeah. I think it's good just to listen, mate, I need to fucking a little walk for 10 minutes. Or how's things? I'm really struggling now. Just that little 10 minutes to go, listen, everything's going to be sweet, blah, blah, blah. It can make your day better. Yeah. And it can be that, like, exercise is so important as well to balance the demons, because it's an inner battle, and the exercise kind of wins those battles, I believe. No matter if it's just walking, no matter if it's just going to the park with the dog, just my dogs are a big saviour in my life. Like, I fucking love them more than anyone, you know, and I kick on for them. I was never suicidal, but I used to think about it when I was on the session. I thought, would anybody miss me? I think, what would I do if I took my own life? You know, would anybody care? And I've had the balls to do it. I was too selfish.
Well, I'd take me out to anybody who has done it and gone through it. Because it's some bollocks. I know people say it's selfish and I can't believe they've done it and all that, but and look what they've left behind. But for somebody to actually do that, you've got to be in a fucking really, really bad place to do it. I mean, when I did it, I've never thought about it doing it to that extent again, because I've fucking scared myself with it. But for my mate to do what he did, and he was a strong person. He was always encouraging everybody to fucking, you know, follow the dreams and fucking get out doing something and talking or whatever. And then he does what he did. So
it's sad when it goes that way. When was the first time you got to jail from it? When was the first time you got to night?
So first time I went to jail was when I was 26, back in 2009. That was for a fray in Sheffield City Centre on a Saturday night.
What'd you get? Oh, so you weren't fighting hooligans, you were fighting...
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday. Like I
night?
said, yeah. Most fights in Sheffield Town Centre was between United and Wednesday. And that were one of them. And that wasn't organised. It never were organised, but you knew if you went in certain places and certain pubs and bars and stuff, there might be something. But I was literally just waiting outside for a taxi. And one of United lads has come bouncing out saying, fucking Wednesday's in here. They're fucking top boys are in here and all this. So, funny enough, we'd been on a stag doing Doncaster. Not very nice fucking thingy place. But we went in there, we'd been fighting with some jippos. Yeah, so we'd already been we'd already been fucking fighting that night. And it got a bit later on. So we'd left Doncaster, got out of way, come back to Sheffield. And I fucking had enough. And I was like, I'm going home. I'm going to get a taxi. So I was just stood waiting for a taxi. Then he's come bouncing out doing that. They're fucking here. So then me and my mate were just stood there, and the next minute they come fucking out, throwing bottles, chairs, everything. So then he just fucking went. And funny enough, the video lasts 8.5 minutes because it's all on
CCTV.
All on CCTV, yeah. And it's fucking mad, mate. But there were only 3 of us what got nicked. So me and my mate got nicked. And the guy who come out the pub and said, look, they're here. He got nicked. We all got fucking 12 months for it. But nobody on the other side got nicked. And I can remember getting interviewed saying, have you nicked anybody from other side of Sheffield or what? And they were like, oh, it's an ongoing investigation. I'm like, well, I know you know that you know who they are. So why aren't they? Anyway, went to court. Just us 3 got 12 months for free.
Why just Sheffield United?
No idea. Same as out, innit? If anybody can get away, I mean, I've never got away with all. I mean, I've got away with stuff where as in like being found not guilty and stuff, but majority of the time you fucking are guilty. But you know how it works. But it's like, anyway, when I've walked in court or walked into a police station, I've either gone away or got done for it. Do you know what I mean? I've never like been able to say, well, I'll tell you what, I can give you a piece of information or we'll do a deal and stuff like that. And anybody who's blatantly guilty of stuff and then never gets time or never just walks, there's always...
Yeah, they're glasses.
That's what I'm saying. So, again, I knew they were well known to police and they knew they were. But for some reason, they never got dragged in. It was just us, like we caused it. But again, on camera, you just see me stood waiting for a taxi. It weren't until my mate got here over a chair that I've then gone wading in. But then it's just corny. I mean, I go in, one door, go missing, come out dragging a couple with me. You know, one fucking kid hits me. It's brilliant. It's up there. But again, it didn't look good in court.
No self-defence?
I've tried that before with self-defence shit and I ended up getting found guilty.
If you're standing at the taxi rank and then actually walk in a door,
yeah,
I think it's a different ball game.
Yeah, I've tried that. We've tried all sorts, but again, outcome where I got found guilty with a jury, and that were kind of self-defence because the kid were running at me and I just took my hands out of my pockets, gave him one. He went down and then I walked away. That was it. Me involvement was literally a couple of seconds. And my barrister then said, "Look, go down to self-defence. He's running at you." They fucking found me guilty, so I got some more time for that. But out against Sheffield Wednesday and all.
What was the media like? Newcastle player to prison?
Under radar, to be honest. Only things what come out in regards to like playing for Newcastle and stuff like that is obviously the goal incidents, the stuff what actually got into the papers, and local papers. If I played for local like non-league teams and stuff. I might have had incidents in training where I've been sacked for digging somebody in training or whatever kind of stuff. But again, all these stories and headlines or whatever, it's all where I were in life and, like I said, decision making and how chaotic it was. I mean, I was never brought up to be a bad lad. I was never a little twat or out like that. I got brought up brilliantly, to be honest. But it was just, again, them decision making, the frame of mind I was in, the decision makings were just fucking horrendous. So again, I take all the flack and everything for what I've done. But again, it's just like opening the story up to people and saying, well, hold on a minute, I'm talking about the depression, the gambling. These are reasons why all this shit went down like this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
What was prison like for you?
Scary as shit first time. you have to find that balance between being, you know, not too much for people, but not a soft shit. So that's where you kind of guess where you need to be and where to gauge, you know, I'm all right with people, but then I'm not a fucking idiot. Don't take piss. So probably did all right with prison first time because I knew a couple of schools in there, so they made my life a bit easier. Got a few perks and stuff like that. But again, football lads in prison, they fucking hate it. Everybody in there fucking hates it because they just see like, they don't understand being a football hooligan. They just see it's like fucking mindless violence. Now, they might be in for fucking chopping somebody up or whatever, that's mindless violence or whatever. But they're like, fucking football lads, you fucking wankers. And that's the kind of reaction you got when you're like rocked up in jail. What you in for? Oh, fucking football violence. For you fucking wankers. Fucking idiots, you all lot. Do you know what I mean? That's how they
Everybody in there's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's
Everyone.
what I mean. But they fucking turn the nose up here. They're like, you fucking scum. And I'm like, mate, what are you in for?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking in for fucking domestic abuse. It's like, yeah, you're fucking scum, pal. Do you know what I mean? But it's mental. But after that, I've done 4 stints, I think. And I'd only come out in 2024, my last stint. So I got 2 years for just an altercation with somebody where I've ended up gaining a few. But again, back in 2023, I'd gone back to my worst a bit with gambling and stuff like that with regards to depression. Because I actually had a stint in working in mental health because it was something I wanted to get into and obviously give some stuff back to mental health. And I ended up being a support worker. And I was doing brilliantly for a couple of years. But you know, dealing with everybody else's problems, and dealing with everybody else's shit and guiding them and seeing fantastic results for other people is I was neglecting myself. So my shit were always put to back, but then that resurfaced after a bit. And that's where I kind of blew up. So I like ballooned up a bit. I was like fucking heaviest I'd ever been. Because again, like you can relate. So I used to eat on emotions all the time. It was kind of more like a self-harm. Never weren't fucking hungry. I didn't want to fucking eat, but I just eat shit just for like self-harm. And you knew you were going to balloon up. Then you were going to think, oh, I look like shit. So I'll get more depressed. So it's just a vicious circle with it. And it was same as like with gambling. I'd always leave myself enough money to buy a pizza or whatever if I were like living on my own. I never did that like last 10 quid in. I'd always like, but that again with the self-destruction and stuff like that. So I've been there myself, like, and I wanted to give something back, so I did it. But then I had to come out of that work because I couldn't cope with it because I was doing really well, but money was shit. Weren't really much appreciated for what I did and how well I did with them. But again, you lose yourself because you're dealing with everybody else's shit. So I blew up. So I went on a night out and an altercation with somebody. And again, not been in any trouble for a few years because it's been 14 years since I was last in prison, since 2009. So it were, you know, some time ago. And then bang, get sent. I just had a new baby, so he was 2 weeks old. And then the kid gassed me up. I didn't get nicked on the night. It was a week later. They come to my house and they fucking nicked me for it. And then they were having remand for 4 months. And then I got sentenced to 2 years. So yeah, it was just fucking, it's mad. But this time around, jail's a completely different place to what it were 14 years ago. The calibre of people in there are different.
Everybody's on space, though, drugs, though.
Fucking hell, it's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, I was in Ramby. And
Where's that?
it's near Nottinghamshire, near Worksop. But it's doing an ambulance 5 times a day coming into that prison to get people out on spice because they were fucking ODing on it and going fucking nuts. It were horrendous.
What's the worst thing you've seen in prison?
Someone slitting the throat. Someone slitting their own throat. Fucking blood seeping out at bottom of the door on landing. Yeah.
When did the penny ever drop, or did it ever drop that the career that you could have had to then the life that you chose? Did you ever sit in a prison cell thinking, fuck me, like, what have I done?
Yeah. I have, yeah. Mostly you do when you're in a prison cell. not just on your football career, but everything you've done, whether it were that night or that incident or whatever. Everybody can say, especially, I'll say the first time you do realise that is in fucking meat wagon up there from court to prison, you know, getting booked in. That's the realisation, because I can remember like the bus used to go on Sheffield Parkway, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, I live there, I can see my house from there. I'm on Sheffield Parkway to Doncaster prison. I'm thinking, just turn. You know, you're like looking through a window. That's the realisation. But then you have to go into that survival mode when you get in prison. Because like I say, you can't go in there being fucking weak as piss and, oh, I shouldn't be here and, you know, feel sorry for me. You've got to go in there and fucking gauge it right. Don't be a dickhead, but then don't be a pushover. Just find that middle ground where to be all right with people. Which I did quite well with it, because like I say, I didn't take no shit, but I wouldn't be a fucking dickhead. You know, I'd get on with everybody and, you know, see if somebody needed something, I'd sort them out. Because that's why when I landed in prison, I knew a few people in there already. And that's how they were with me, yeah. You've got some fucking toothpaste, toothbrush, some noodles, whatever it is, shower gel. You know, end of the day, you're in there doing time with people, just fucking get on with it. The end goal is to get out. So just fucking live your life, but...
Did it make you angry thinking about your past when you're in prison because of what it could have been, and it made you rebel even more?
Or
no, your head just already gone?
It had already gone. The thing is, the last time I went in, and I come out in 2024, and obviously done podcasts and stuff like that talking about it, was the realisation. That's when the pennies dropped, the last prison sentence. Especially with a two-week-old baby and leaving him for like 12 months and stuff like that. So that's the realisation. And it were, you know, I think I was 23 stone when I landed in jail, and I come out like 18, and I was like, be training every day. But it was that training and that focus and that routine I'd never had since I was a footballer, because of all the chaos of the fucking gambling and drinking and fighting and whatever. I never had that routine for a long time. And then when I found that routine again back in prison, my head had just completely switched to like, you know, come out, be positive, do stuff, talk about it, whatever. So that's where I'm at now.
What about when you were fighting with the fan? What happened? Because it made world headlines.
Yeah. Again, playing for Gull in non-league. I used to get frustrated playing non-league because where I'd been and what I'd done, what I achieved. When you're coming down the pyramid and you're playing for shitholes and there's a couple of hundred people there and you're not getting the proper football money anymore, and you're just being a normal person and having to pay bills and doing whatever. That's the frustrations. And to be honest, that day were just getting fucking shitloads of abuse off the Colville supporters. Nah, which is fair enough, but I'm not a fucking professional footballer anymore. I'm playing non-league. There's 200 or 300 people there. You can hear every fucking word they're saying, you know, and you just think, fuck it. And it was a bad day. I got sent off. Money had not been paid at Gull. A couple of weeks' wages I was owed and stuff like that. So there were more to it than that. But it just blew up. So then when I got to the tunnel, it was like an old school ground. So the tunnel had like got a cage around it. And during the game, they used to like open one, so you could like walk past the tunnel, walk through the tunnel. And then when the game was on, they shut it. So as I was going to the tunnel, they'd come from the top corner of the stand down to the tunnel to give him more abuse. So as I've got to the tunnel, I've realised the gate's open, the latch is off. So I've burst through that and then fucking gone into the crowd and said, well, what you fucking saying now, basically. But you don't get that. He only starts filming it from when he does start filming it. So you don't see the build up to that. But obviously I got made out that I was fucking lunatic. Goal captain goes mental, all this all over fucking social media and YouTube and everything. So I had to come out and do some interviews to get my point across and tell them the full, full story, because I was just getting made out. And obviously I said the Cantona thing was, it was 19 years today that Cantona did that at Selhurst Park. So it was anniversary of that. So that's what made it the headlines and stuff. But yeah, it went off. But again, I'm used to fucking running terraces, and that football lad come out in me. Do you know what that mean? That's one of football lads. It was like, yeah, I'm playing football, but now I've been sent off, and fuck it. You want to give me some, if you'll give me some abuse in stand, I'm used to that. I've been doing that for the last 20 years. I'm fucking in. So yeah, that took over me. But again, I got psyched. David Holsworth, the manager, psyched me, but just said, look, fucking hell, you're a great kid. I love you to pieces. You're my club captain. He says, but I've got to let you go. I can't. So I just said, listen, I shook his hand. I said, no problem whatsoever. I get it. And then from the drive home from Gull, which is about 50 minutes back to Sheffield, my fucking phone was blowing up. And I'm thinking, you know, how does everyone else know about this? And there were people ringing up saying, oh, Robbie Savage on 5 Live's calling you out, ringing. What's gone off at fucking Gold today? Because people have been ringing in or something. I fucking turned my phone off. I thought, I can't handle this, can't deal with it all. So the next day I turned my phone on and again it just blew up. They were like, I think I were on Twitter at the time and I think about 3,000 people had started following me just that night or whatever. And I couldn't handle it. But again, the abuse I was getting online were fucking horrendous. It were mental. But I were biting. I were biting to it, which I've learned not to.
Replying.
If you'd have come down to our ground, we'd have done this. And I'm like, mate, I'll come down to your ground. Where are you from? All right, sound, I'll meet you. What junction on M1 do you want to meet? I was fucking biting like fuck, mate. And it was taking all my life for that couple of weeks after, where I had to just come off. I had to just fucking delete it all and come off.
And what happened with the football career? Did you get a ban?
I got same ban as Cantona, yeah. So I got a year ban.
It's all right.
Yeah, not obviously as much money what Cantona got fined. But yeah, I just literally couldn't play for a year.
So when did you become a debt collector?
After I'd been in prison.
You think you just sort of earned your stripes and become that character of that life?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Were you not boozing or taking gear then?
No, not really. We're just, funny enough, sorry. Funny enough. Right, sorry. Funny enough, I signed for a non-league team. And the chairman owned a window company. And he'd been, loads of contracts had gone south and people owed him money and stuff like that. So he says, listen, I'll give you some working week. I'll pay you on a Saturday, a couple £100 to play, but I'll give you some working week. Anyway, we're debt collecting, going around to see people, getting money for these windows. So I started getting some results and getting some money in. So basically he just said like, look, there's a couple of guys I know. Do you want to go and work for them? So that's how it started. But then obviously people in Sheffield, but then using my size, using my reputation, stuff like that, saying, look, he owes me a few quid. But I just wanted to like carry on living the footballer's lifestyle on that money, but not actually playing football. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
And how bad was the gambling then? Has it always been the sort of same?
All same. More money, yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
As soon as you get money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same. Like, I would be happily sit in the house 24/7 if I had funds, just watching fucking horse in Philadelphia and water polo in Brazil, beach volleyball, anything I could bet on. Never gave a fuck about winning or losing. I just needed that buzz. I needed to feel like I was alive. That was the only thing that made me alive. Now that I'm doing well in life, I don't know if I appreciate it or I get any sort of buzz because of the buzzies I used to get. If you're sniffing gear, gambling, partying, the dopamine levels must be through the roof. The brain must be thinking, what the fuck is this? So then when you come off everything and start doing well, you don't really get any sort of traction up the way with a good feeling.
No.
You know, so I don't know if I bumped the fucking receptors out with so much gambling, you know, because my biggest buzz was when it was a last minute goal or it was a photo finish or it was something close.
Yeah.
Because if I've got a bet on, say I've got St Helens on -12 in the rugby league and they're winning with 40.
Yeah.
I wanted my money back so I could put another bet on. I didn't even feel good.
Yeah.
It's the close ones.
It's the losing, isn't it? It's the losing and chasing.
Peek round the door and cover the score and turn the volume down like you're fucking going mental.
It's the losing. It's the chasing. Where you get the buzz. If you won all the time, it'd be boring.
When did you start really seeking out for help? When did you? Has there anybody ever came across that you could give you advice that you could?
Some help did start when I was early 20s. So I went to Sporting Chance, the Tony Adams Foundation, for the gambling. But my dad contacted the PFA, which is one good thing my dad did when I was in my 20s, trying to sort me out. But I can remember a guy called Peter Kay He's passed away now, but he worked for Sporting Chance. Yeah, you might have seen him. He were in and out of court with Joey. He looked after Joey Barton.
Oh yeah. Joey spoke about him on the podcast.
Yeah. Peter Carey called him.
Saved his life.
Yeah. So he turned up at my mum and dad's house in Sheffield one day because my dad had rung them, and we sat on the settee with me, and and my dad's saying, "Oh yeah, he's struggling with his gambling and stuff like that." And I can remember just sat there and I didn't know who we were, but I just remember sat there like thinking, "Fuck me, Dad. You like throwing me on the fucking bus here. What about your gambling? What about you?" Do you know what I mean? But it was like kind of that, that denial kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, he's bad at that. He's getting worse. He's getting worse. I'm thinking, fuck me, mate. Why don't you, while he's here, see if you can get some fucking help and all? But they took me away. They took me down to Sporting Chance for a month. But again, it's a surreal world. You live like a fucking top footballer down there. You're at Champneys. So it's, Champneys Health Resort in Liphook, Hampshire. And it's fucking beautiful, picturesque, all that lot. And there's this pad in the woods where you stay, and you go to Champneys every day and eat and use their facilities and get fucking spa treatments and whatever. And then at night, you jump in a car, get took to London, and you're going out to have a swanky meal at a restaurant, and you then go to a GA meeting or a CA meeting or whatever it might be. Depends on who's we're on at that time, what the players or whatever. And that's what you did for a month. But then as soon as I jumped on train and went back to Sheffield, back to fucking normal life, back to reality now. So that, I don't want to gamble for a month. I'm good. Back hanging around with lads and that back in Sheffield or going out and having a drink or whatever. You're just back to square one. So there's not much aftercare kind of thing.
How much do you think you've rattled on gambling? Millions?
I won't say millions, but I'd say we'll be far off a mil. Because, again, what you win goes fucking straight back. I've had some decent wins, but I've never, there's nothing to show for it. There's nothing to show for the football career, the money I earned. Where, again, if there'd be more guidance from my parents, again, which goes down to they were shit with money when they had money at a young age. There'd be more guidance and support in that, and in some more financial guidance in, like, look, you're on this much a week. You don't need that a week. Why don't you start putting whatever into investment or to an house or whatever? They were never that. So I was just kind of misguided, whatever. There were no anybody saying, look, you need to start doing this for the future. It was just literally, do it like.
Were you still gambling in prison?
Yeah. Not so much, not any other times, but the last time I was in, just pure boredom. And it's not like it were controlled, because my mate just used to say to me, he's a gambler, he just said, look, ring me up every Saturday, I'll put you a bet on. Gives you something to do at a weekend. Do you know what I mean? And then whatever I won, he just gave me when I got out. So it was just kind of a pot of money to help me out when I got out. But I had a couple of decent wins. But he just said, look, he goes, I'll stick you a tenner football bet on, and then I'll put you a lucky 15 on horses. So it worked kind of controlled. But then one of the guys in there says, look, I'm going to start running the bookies in here. So it was just like, I don't smoke or vape or anything, but everything's vapes in there. So it were like capsules. So he run a bookies, but that was currency basically. A pack of these were worth a £5. So it was like, I'm going to buy. So I was just buy it on canteen, but they were like my betting tokens with this guy. And then obviously the more I won with these vapes, I'd just then sell them to them who did vape or smoke or whatever.
We were gambling in chocolate when I was in the jail. We used to get a meeting saying paydock or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously say there's 5 or 6 meetings.
Yeah.
You obviously pick a horse. Each meeting, whoever wins gets 3 points. Second to last, first, third, you get 1 point. And whoever got the most points won all the bars of chocolate.
Yeah. There used to be shower gels as well.
Yeah.
In fact, last time I went, shower gels. Yeah. Because they were a pound. Shower gels were a pound. So that were equivalent to a pound. There you go. I'll have 4 shower gels on that. We played cards a few times just to pass the time of day on. Scrabble. It's what it is, isn't it? You've got to get fucking...
Just find a way as well.
Yeah.
So you've done 4 sentences: debt collector, football, mental health.
Fucking done everything.
What? So you just got out of the jail last year?
January 24, yeah. Yeah.
So is everything still recent?
Yeah.
Are you out in licence or anything?
Licence finished January this year. So yeah. Do you know what, mate? the penny dropped last time I went, because I can remember, like, over the years I've written a book and there were talks about a film and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, when there's interest like that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll fucking sell this and all that. But then as soon as you don't hear out for a week or 2 weeks, then you go, oh, fucking hell, why is anybody interested in this? No, fuck it, I'll just fuck it off. And that's what it's been like over the years. But since I've come out, and obviously people are interested in the story and stuff like that, it's kind of just took off. So the more feedback I get is the more drive I have to start doing more. So at minute, like I was speaking to Danny, obviously, with his book and stuff like that. So I think we might get something together with that and might get mine published and get it out there. But in regards to like films and stuff, these talk of a short film being made, and that is literally going to be the story of the story, like the beginning of the story to the full shebang of my life and all what we talked about today. But it will be that period from like 13 to 16 or 13 to 17 when I signed professional. So it's looking at the more relationship with my dad, the learnt behaviour off my dad, the gambling, the fights at home with my mum and not paying bills and, you know, just living with a compulsive gambler. So obviously there's a lot of stuff people can take from it, relate to it in regards to mental health, gambling addiction, stuff like that. So we're all looking to get that sorted early next year, and then get that entered into like film festivals and stuff, hopefully, and then somebody will take it on to be a feature film.
I do see a movie there.
Yeah.
The footballer becoming a football hooligan, debt collector, prison 4 times. It's just finding that ending. It's just finding that, do you know what, I'm good now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in prison fucking this year, next year.
No, not at all.
Got a part 2 in the movie, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you've definitely, like, I've interviewed enough people, like, it is such a fascinating story. And it might not feel it because and sometimes when you live it, it doesn't feel that good. But
No.
for the footballer to be a hooligan is fucking nuts.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the thing is with a short film is I want to get the more aspects of the background to all the fucking mayhem, basically, and where it starts. And a lot of people relate to stuff is obviously the mental health, the depression, the gambling addiction. I want them to see him firsthand of that, because I think that alone be very powerful and strong for people to relate to. But then obviously I'm not going to be able to then start putting all scenes in films of some stuff I've got involved in regards to the football hooligan stuff and the chaos of prisons and stuff like that, what's been going on. So that would be like a feature film. But really, mostly, even if I just get a short film out about the proper stuff, the hard stuff, growing up.
Never do boxing or anything?
I did box at 15 and 16, but I think my dad was like, "Yeah, you're a better footballer." That's what my dad wanted to do. It was just football. He wouldn't let me play rugby. I got approached for playing rugby, but we're now football.
How hard is it when your family seeing you going to prison and that, especially with your dad taking you all around, taking you out to football, getting your contracts to then his son's in prison? And I think sometimes that can be the hard thing when you've got potential, when you've got opportunities, and you fuck them all.
Yeah.
Like some people, kids from the streets, they don't really have opportunities. They don't have that of being a footballer or a snooker player or that have the great talent. Everybody has a great talent. They just don't tap into it because no one takes them to then figure out their talent. But I think it's more damaging to the brain when you actually have a gift, when you have been put on this planet to showcase your talent, to then fucking it all, because it's still guy in the pub saying, listen, I could have been a contender, I could have been a footballer.
Yeah.
But do you think it's harder for your parents because you did have such a talent at such a young age?
My mum, not so much, because my mum never believed into football. She never tapped into believing I were a footballer. She weren't interested in that life whatsoever. She was more a realist. My dad just lived in fucking cuckoo land with it. I just want to, you know, and that's the dynamics of my household. Whereas it was me and my dad on this journey, and my mum and my brother, my younger brother, were just in background. So it was just about me and my dad and what me and my dad were going to achieve. My dad left my mum after 25 years. So when I was 25 and I got sent down at 26 and my dad had left, he'd gone off with another woman and whatever. That period of time from like 26 to 30 and then 3 prison sentences I did and stuff like that, that's when it's just fucking chaos. That was most chaotic in my life. So my dad, I put fucking money on my dad's head when he left, because I found my mother took an overdose. tried to kill herself. And I found my mother. And my dad was a big bloke. My dad looked the bollocks, but soft as shit. My mum was the hard one. Maybe I might get it from my mum. I might look like my dad and have my dad's size, but my mum was the hard one. She was the one who disciplined and stuff like that. She was the rock in the family. And then when me and my brother saw her crumble and tried to take her own life because of my dad, I was fucking, and the period of time where I was fucking angry and I was putting money on my dad's head. I was going to go and fucking take him out. Because I was, it was bad. So then when I got sent down the first time, year after, he actually wrote me a letter while I was in prison, just explaining himself a bit for whatever happened. But still to this day, my dad's never gone, look, son, you know, how you've turned out and what's gone off him. You know, I have had things to do with it. You know, I show you gambling. You know, you saw a lot as a kid. He never takes any responsibility for fuck all because he's still in denial about it still to this day. I mean, he still has a bet, but he doesn't do what he used to do. But again, we don't have a relationship. That's the hardest thing. We don't have a relationship. And all I ever wanted him just to say is, look, we fucked up, Karl. I fucked up as a dad sometimes, you know what I mean? We all do. You're human. But he's just never had that realisation just to fucking tell me. And that's all I've ever wanted of him. Don't want what else, just to say, yeah, hold my hands up.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I want from him. And then we'd get on like a fucking house on fire, probably. Go back to the old days. But it's something I'm always wanting him to do, but I don't think I'll ever see it.
But we speak about that as speaking out because sometimes it's the most difficult thing is taking responsibility.
Yeah.
We blame everybody else. It's easier because we're already a fuck up. We know we're a fuck up.
Yeah.
We just don't want to tell people that we're a fuck up, even though they know we're a fuck up. You know, and that's the hard thing, especially when it comes to parents, because all we want to do is feel loved.
Yeah.
That's where the majority of our madness comes from. Abandonment. Not getting that arm around your shoulder, proud of you.
Yeah.
Fuck, I was raised in Glasgow, it was just mayhem.
Yeah.
If anybody put an arm around you and says proud of you, you just automatically think gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or nonce or something like you don't show feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's why the majority of people are fucked up. Like, it's we're living in a time where that's all, like, men just, nobody really ever knows what goes on in our mind. And I've always been saying this recently, like, it's a dangerous place to be, especially in this day and age as well, because there's no stability.
No.
Relationships aren't as strong as they used to be. Divorces through the roof. Anger, frustration, suicide, addiction. We're becoming lost as a society and humans because we're all decent.
Yeah.
We are all decent. You'll know a few mad bastards. I know a few bad bastards. But I know they're solid. I know they're good underneath all the fakery and all the charade that they put on, you know. Gambling, for anybody who's like sort of watching and struggling, I've went through myself with the gambling, but how bad is gambling for people who don't know? Because there's a lot of girlfriends and mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and friends who just think, why are you throwing away money?
Yeah.
They don't understand the depths of where it takes you. But for people who's watching, like, how bad is the struggle for gamblers?
It's massive, and I think it's the worst one. I think it's the worst one out of the addictions because it's undetectable. I could sit here today and say, well, yeah, I'm sound, and I might have lost 100 grand. Now, if I turned up here today and said, well, I'm a drug addict, you'd see the signs of me being a drug addict, or you'd see me pissed or whatever. You can see signs of other addictions, you know, physical signs. With gambling, you can't, unless you see the bank account or, you know, whatever. But gambling, it's like literally you can fucking lose everything. There's only so much drugs you can take before you kill yourself, overdose. Same as with drink. There's only so much you can take before you fucking liver pipes in and you die. Gambling is endless. It's limitless, basically. So, and then a lot of people, then that's where they do have to take their life because it gets too much. So it's not like the physical stuff is taking their life through addiction. It's them taking their life for it because there's no other way. And that's where I think it's bad. But gambling, it starts off a social thing, but then when you are going into your own little world, that's when it becomes a problem. When you wake up in the morning thinking that the first thing I need to do is stick a bet on. That's if you do get any sleep, because you'll go into bed late at night, say if you're trying to fucking gamble on, you know, South American League or whatever you're trying to do. It's that where the first thing you need to do, and then you know yourself, whether you're stealing money, borrowing money, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of thing, which we've all done. that's the worst thing for it. And then obviously your relationships break down because you are lying. It is deceitful. Again, because you can hide it. You can tell somebody one story and another. If I turned up pissed and says, "Now I had a drink," and slurred and whatever, you'd know I'd had a drink. Do you know what I mean? So again, you can hide it. You can mask gambling well. So that's why I think it's the worst one. But
yeah, I remember having a bird, and she was up the stairs. I think it was NFL it was on, and I don't know how I'd have ever got the money, but I fucking used her card to put on a bet.
yeah,
And she's obviously got like the bank statement through like a couple of weeks later saying, what is this bet?
Yeah.
Obviously she knew I was a gambler, and that used a pure lie. I'd just deny all the knowledge.
yeah,
Like pawning the kids' iPads, and I used to know them in the pawn shop.
Yeah.
I had like my chain, a ring, a watch, and I used to go down, get a certain amount of money, I'd probably get it back out in a few days. It could be straight back down that day.
yeah.
Like I knew all their first names, and you know you're a failure.
Yeah.
You know you're a fucking bum, because as a father you should be doing everything to do better for your kids.
Yeah.
Give them the opportunities that you don't, but you just sacrifice everyone around you just to get that fix. And where it takes you is, like I say, pawning the kids' iPads, and that. She used to come home from school looking for her iPad, and I would pretend to look under the bed, and that knowing I've just fucking sold it to the pawn. You know, like sick mentality. Like it's madness. But that goes for any addiction. People who undereat, overeat, drug addiction, pharmaceuticals, whatever it is. Like addiction's addiction. It's somebody who's just lost completely, because there's not many gamblers I've came across that don't know they've got an addiction, but they just never admit it. I'm fine. I can do this, I can do that, but you see them constantly.
Yeah. I mean, I've done 10 grand sat on shitter. Because again, you're hiding, you're like, oh, I need to go for a shit. That's another one. Like, Bird away at time, like, fucking hell, you shit for England. Like, why do you keep going to the toilet? Oh, I'm fucking struggling at the minute with me. But it's to fucking get away so you can, like, get in my own little zone and do what I'm doing on my phone.
And enjoy your bet.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not worse. And I've seen it before, like, with relationships I've had where I'm sat there and I'm thinking, fucking, I'm like, just lost. And I'm like, fucking hell. And she's like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. And I'm fucking hell. I'm screaming inside. So I just lost a fucking few grand or whatever. It's mental. But funny enough, I ended up getting engaged because of my fucking gambling. And it's funny because I moved in with a bird, and we went to school together and we ended up getting together, and we had like a joint account. Well, it weren't an account, it were an account, but I used to put my money in there from football, what got paid into it. And one Friday she was working, I were off, so I thought, oh, fuck it. So I had to walk into town. And I ended up joining a granddad and going into bookies. And when I'd done it, I thought, oh, fuck. But then once I went in the gambling element, I ended up winning 3 grand. And I thought, how the fuck am I going to get this money back into the bank without her knowing? Like, just put a grand back. She's going to see it on statement, like 1,000 out, 1,000 in. So a few weeks before, we walked past Goldsmiths, the jewellers. And she was just said, oh, there's a ring. I might want that ring. So I thought, hey, well, hold on. I'll put £1,000 back, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fucking buy her that ring. So it just like masks that I've ever took a grand out. So if she does question it, I'll just say, oh yeah, but towards ring. Do you know what I mean? So I ended up buying this ring. So I got home and I thought, right, put money by. And I gave it a ring and I just said, oh yeah, I've got you a present. Oh, well, fucking hell. Next minute, mother's up. But when's party? When we having a do? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you've proposed, haven't you? I says, nah, I fucking haven't. I says, oh, no, then you organised a do. So next minute, I've just fell into like an engagement. Next minute, I'm at this fucking do. So we sent her back, fucking, do you know what I mean? I've ended up getting engaged to this lass. But it was just, again, daft shit, because I'm having to
cover your ass.
I'm having to cover my ass. But first thing I thought is, fucking hell, how am I going to get this money back? Right, that ring there. And it's fucking funny how you come up with these ideas and stuff like that.
You're a genius.
Yeah.
Because the amount of lies and how you can, and you think of stuff instantly.
Yeah.
When you're put under pressure, shit just comes out your mouth.
Yeah.
My mum always knew though, because it was the frustration.
Yeah.
I used to get like, not angry, but it was like a agitated.
Yeah.
You're gambling again. And that would make me worse.
No, I'm not.
No, you fucking, you always say this.
Yeah.
And she was always right.
Yeah.
She always fucking knew.
Yeah.
Because it's in your room hiding and the laptop's plugged in and you're getting into the toilets, your volume's turned down.
Yeah.
You're sneaking in and out. You just know the telltale signs. But it is, for me, it is the hidden addiction. So for anybody watching or listening, there is plenty help out there. A lot of people struggle to go to meetings which is understandable, but you can just go and listen, because when you find out you're not alone, find out that you are, there's plenty of other scumbags out there that we're all kind of on the same boat.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is we can make changes to have better relationships, because when I stopped, I became a better dad instantly. I wasn't lying as much. You still tell little tales,
Yeah.
but you became more reliable. You know, and that was a good feeling, because I hated bumping people. I hated not paying money.
Yeah.
And there's still little debts I owe from like 20
Yeah.
years ago. And it's still in my mind that I've not cleared off like a wee £100 here,
Yeah.
250 here to people, because you don't want to do it. But that addiction just takes you to a whole different dimension. It takes you to places that you never thought you would go. And I think that's where, well, I can only speak for myself, my drinking drugs came, because I knew I was a failure. I knew I was losing everything. I just didn't know how to quit. But for anybody, look out in videos or go to YouTube, or people who gambled and make the better choices, because it does change your life instantly. There's people who listen, go to meetings for 25 years and relapse.
Yeah.
It happens. You know, you don't know what's round the corner, but for a better life, it's just eliminating the things that are holding you back, you know, and people have got so much more to give, and when they're really struggling and losing their businesses, losing their house, not seeing their kids, their marriage has failed, all because they're standing in a bookies betting on horses. Like, it is a sad existence.
It is, yeah.
Like, I used to go to the bookies 9 a.m, 10 a.m, till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And even when it closed, I thought, what did I do? I felt lost. I was sitting in there, fucking learning Chinese with some of the guys that were in there just betting cash from the cash and carries and that. They're all fucking smoking, and I just didn't. That was a part of my escape. Sitting in there, wasting weeks. My dad was dying with leukemia. People were going out for meals like the last fucking supper.
Yeah.
I'm smoking joints, betting on the cricket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm missing my father's last. You only get a few weeks to live.
Yeah.
But I was just hiding in the house, gambling, smoking joints.
Your morals go out the window.
Yeah.
There's no morals to it. I mean, I've always said, if I'm in my element in bookies, and somebody, a close friend or my mother or anybody were getting fucking beat up outside, or some an emergency outside, I'd be like, I'm just watching this race. After this race, just let me watch this race. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad it is.
What's your biggest regret?
I'd say it's easy to say on my football career, but I think my kids. My kids is one of my biggest regrets. I mean, I've got 5 kids.
Many women.
4.
I'm 3 and 3. Not far behind.
Oh, well, are you? That's what I mean, but I've just added a few more. But I just...
I'm laughing, mate, because it is a hard thing, because the broken home is not the way I wanted that.
No.
It's just I didn't care.
Yeah.
There was a stage before I turned 30, I didn't think I would make it past 30. So I wouldn't care if I had 5 or 10 kids with 10 different women.
Yeah.
That's the stage I was at. I was just more selfish of, I wasn't caring. Again, that was another fix.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's just that I got brought up with a good dad. My dads were fantastic. My dad was unbelievable to a certain point. And I'm that kind of dad. But the troubles I were having when I had these kids in my worst times. So I couldn't be like a good dad. Not that, not loving dad or anything like that. Just my absence, because prison, fucking on one, gambling, that's more important. So looking back on it now, getting older, I just think, well, could I have done more? Could I have been there more for him and been a better role model? But again, now my aim in life is to explain the story and the situations I've been in and the bad mistakes I've made. So they do learn something, and they can like turn around when they're older and just say, look, I respect it. I respect you. Not the way I'm looking for an explanation off my dad and some acknowledgement. Because I do acknowledge what I've done, and that's why I can openly talk about it and all the shit I've done. Because there's realisation, and that's the thing with addiction, is the realisation. When you're ready to talk about it and be open about it, is when you're going to be on the path to recovery.
Yeah, when you start healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was important. How are you feeling today, brother?
Feel good, mate. Glad to have come. Bit bunged up like with cold, because kids have fetched it home from school and that. But no, I've watched your stuff for years, mate, and it's one thing I wanted to do was get on here.
Yeah, we know you are. And listen, I appreciate it. It's a great story. I can see big things coming from it. And I'm not just saying that about you. It's just a great story. It's a fascinating story. And a good thing is you own your problems, you own your misery. You're not shying away, because it's mad when you have got a bit of pain from the past and people use it against you.
Yeah.
But so when you own it, you don't give a fuck. The
No.
weight of the world that comes off your shoulders because you're thinking, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I've done, and fucking what?
Yeah.
You know, it's a big thing and it's an important thing. How can people get in contact with you? What's your social media if anybody wants to ask
Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. Like I said, there will be some projects coming out early next year. Like I said, getting a book and stuff. But these other projects I'd like to do in regards to gambling. Whether we can get something set up in regards to some gamble support work and things like that, because it is close to me, and I think if we can keep people occupied, because like I said, once you go into that world of gambling, if we can openly talk about it and get a community going with gambling. I mean, not Gamblers Anonymous is for everybody, or 12 Steps to Recovery is for everybody, and people are at different stages. So I just think if there's more options for people to, whether it's a podcast or whether it's just something to listen to or acknowledge and relate to, then we're looking to get something else out like that.
Yeah, a podcast is a good shout. And if you need any help with that, let me know. Because there's plenty of gamblers out there for all walks of life, male and female.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can help with that if you're ever been sober.
Yeah, that's right.
Just before we finish up, for anybody that's maybe in that life of struggle, for anybody that's battling that addiction, what advice would you have for them?
You've just got to get out and talk about it. Speak to somebody about it. Don't isolate yourself. Gambling is a very isolating addiction. You know, you take drugs and you drink, you can do that socialising. I mean, socialising is good with gambling, but again, it's when you take yourself away, you know, on your own and do that gambling. That's when it starts getting a bit complicated and a bit dark. So it's for me is occupy yourself. If you're struggling with gambling in regards to you're thinking of gambling every minute or every day, it's just try and break it up with little things and little, like say exercise or some mediation or something. I don't know. Just something. You've got to break that habit. You've got to break the chain.
Definitely, big man.
Top man.
I wish you nothing but the best for the future.
Mate.
Keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing what you do.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Brother.